When we came to order. Sorry, now I'll call the meeting to order. Okay, Marissa says we're ready. First on the agenda is the approval of last month's minutes. Did everybody get a chance to read them? Any questions about them?
No.
Would somebody like to make a motion to approve them?
I move we approve the minutes.
Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the next on our agenda is the public comment. We have a guest tonight, David Tate.
Hello.
Any comments or questions for us, David?
Nope.
Okay, so David's just gonna sit and observe. So next on the agenda, Scott, you're up.
Okay, tomorrow we have a bunch of ordinances for second reading to approve. The Canby Adult Center is going to make a presentation. If you don't know, they bought the Methodist Church.
Oh.
Not all of it, part of the garden stays separate, but yeah, they'll talk about that. And then we have a public hearing on, Don Hardy is gonna, for the housing needs analysis.
Because we live 5-minute walk from Methodist Church. Oh. That's very interesting.
Yep.
It's huge news.
Yeah. And, anything else, any questions for Scott?
Anything on the attorney situation? We still in a contract?
She'll give us an update tomorrow.
Okay.
That's good to know. So I'm next, and I was late with my board chair report, so I typed it up and I put it on your desk. So I think that our first goal is to get the donation policy finalized, and then once we agree on that, then I'll work on the how do I section of the library website so that I can add a little bit more of the words I wanted to add in the original policy. Then the next step is to get the high school member, and Jennifer, I hope you have an update on that.
I do not have an update on that. I don't know why I didn't hear back from her, but I was thinking I would go to the next chamber luncheon and sit with her.
Okay.
And really get in front of her, because school should be going back in session, it should be time.
It would be good to have something to talk about at the next meeting in August.
I'm also re-forwarding my email right now.
Okay, thanks. And I also met a lady who works for Jennifer's contact at the pool at the club, and so she's very aware of it too. She said she would spread the word over the summertime that she knows people who have kids in high school, and she would spread the word about that as well. But what I would like us to go for is being prepared to be at this day that the school has in September, and to let all of the kids who applied, to know that they should show up that day, and then we have a more robust pool of kids. So, I don't know if you realize, David, that we have a voting team member on it. It has to be a kid who's young person who's going to Canby High School. At my age, they're all kids, but so Luke graduated in June, so he is no longer with us. So we're there was never really a kind of a formal process for getting a student member, so we're trying to formalize it so that it's a repeatable process and not just kind of call you up and see who you know and see who somebody knows. And we got lucky with Luke, I guess, but there's no formal process. So we're trying to finalize that. And then the next on the agenda, how Marissa arranged to meet with the foundation and the Friends. In fact, I just saw Patty McAlpin, who's on the Friends board, and she said that she's looking forward to it. So it sounds like that's a go. So I assume everybody got their info to Marissa about a time that would work. And then Marissa, sent us out the information on their goals. So then that has to be our priority. What can we do as a library advisory board to help Marissa accomplish her goals? And then to continue our work on our introduction to the Canby Public Library, which I have not worked on in several months, is still very much draft format, but it's always gonna be an ongoing, alive document. And the other thing I wanted to point out is that, I talked with Amy about being a mentor for the new student, that I always worked at companies that had like a buddy system, so if you were a new hire, you had somebody who helped look out for you and show you the ropes and things like that, so, Amy has offered to be our, buddy for the new student member that we get, and I think that's a really good way to make somebody feel included really quickly, so. That's my report, any questions for me?
Where are we, I forgot where we left off on that safety, policy.
That we-
We're gonna individually at our own relation.
That we would still have to take that off, it's not a board issue, it's more an individual issue.
So that's at our own discretion.
Right, it's at our discretion, but we can talk about doing something. The other thing I wanted to bring is that, the Canby Herald, I know I bring the Canby Herald a lot, but they do a good job, number one, of supporting the library. They also did a really good job of reporting the Pride event, so you must be very happy. So if anybody hasn't seen it, I brought the paper for,
Yeah, it was good.
so he does a really good job, excuse me. So John Baker does a really good job of, they've been very committed to the library since I joined the Friends Board in 2016. So, that's why I subscribe to the paper, not because I want to read about Canby High School football statistics, but they support the library, so I'll support them, because that's how it works. Are there any other board member reports? Is anything happening with LDAC yet, or are you waiting?
There's a meeting scheduled for the 29th. To discuss feedback on the IGA statement, and Fourth Amendment is the only item on the attached agenda.
Which I have to just say this a million times over, the amendment does not change anything. Does not change anything.
But we're doing it anyways, because that's what we have to do.
Appeasement.
You sure you trouble?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
the meeting just kind of goes like this.
Circular. That. Okay. Any other comments or questions from the board members? There. Okay, next, Marissa, you're up. We have no, so normally we would have the team liaison report, but we don't have one right now.
Okay, so May, June was very busy. We did a lot. I know I sent this to you guys via email, but I didn't print it out. It was just a lot of paper, I just so anyway, we saw a huge increase in our adult programming participation, huge. I mean, like 4 times the amount that we normally see. Same with our teen events, and children's events are just always kind of big, so it's been very busy the past couple months. We are having more and more digital checkouts as well, which is causing some budgetary issues with every library. It's good that we're seeing more people wanting to do that, but the demand for physical has not changed, so that's just been a little bit difficult. So we're trying to figure out what to do going forward with our budgets from there. We've had several new staff members start. These are obviously not new positions, they're just replacing people who had left. Our new 25-hour library assistant too, Sophia, started on the 18th of June. If you see her around, please say hi. She's very, 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 very kind. And then we've had several new on-calls start. Ember, who is a previous volunteer and intern for us, Emma, Jennifer, and then I don't know if you guys know Gray. He was also a previous on-call. He's back. So that's really fun. And then our teen intern Rayleigh started on the 17th of June, and she's in the middle of working on her Connected Learning project, which is a part of the grant funding that we got. And she's actually going to be creating some programming in the month of August. And she had a very, very, very good lens into what teens actually want. I remember me, her, and Karen met, and we just both, Karen and I looked at each other like, I have no idea what teens we're looking for, so we're really happy to have her on board. The Maker Lab has 3D printers finally. We're working on a policy right now that you guys will see at some point, just to make sure all of our I's are dotted and T's are crossed. I know you guys have already seen the new community bulletin board, but that's up and has been very, very popular and going super well. We've had a lot of people want to post stuff, and I don't think there's been more than one thing that we actually just said, no, we can't post this, so. Good. Going well. Let's see, summer reading obviously started on June 1st. We've had several events at Waite Park, which have been going well. A lot of people have been showing up to those. I think at the Border Collie International, we had like 100.
So I want to comment that my husband and I had done some volunteer work that afternoon at the campus center. We were coming home on Grant, and even Glenn was like, what's going on? What's going on in the park? Why are all these people there? And I saw the dogs and I said, oh, that's a library event.
It was hilarious because these were not like the award-winning Border Collies. These were the dogs, the rescue dogs version. So he had 4 dogs that he brought with him. 2 of them came out and basically just laid down like no thanks. And then the other 2 were just crazy doing stuff. But it was a really fun program because the guy who was putting it on with the dogs, he had a lot of really good lessons to share about, taking care of everybody and every dog, no matter what their history is like, and so on and so forth. So it was really, really fun. And the dogs were super sweet. One of them wore like a little cheerleader outfit, which I still have burned in my brain because it was so fun. Anyway, so that's been going well. We've had a lot of good feedback from those events so far. And then as far as just what's coming up, we have our Lego building competition at the end of this month on July 30th. It is a team competition and signups are required. There will be a winner, and the winner will be presented the following month by somebody who was on, and I always forget the title even though I know it has Lego in it. The show that's on, I think it's like Fox or something, Lego building competition. One of the Portland area participants is gonna come present the award. So that's super cool.
Can folks like stop in and watch as people
Yeah.
are
Oh,
building?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we're gonna put them on display too, so don't worry, you'll see plenty.
Okay.
Clackamas County Repair Fair is happening here on Saturday from 10 to 1. So that's basically just an event where you can bring items that certain people who have that kind of skill set will be able to fix. So that's going on, and then later on that afternoon, also on the 20th on Saturday from 2:30 to 4:30, we're going to have an evening with author Megan Lally, or Lally, I can't remember how to pronounce her name, but we are basically starting to partner with the Book Nook to bring their author events to the library, and then whatever they sell as far as books go, the library will get 10% of the proceeds, which is great. We're actually just gonna put it in a pot to get more authors here because some people do have a fee. So that's super, super exciting. And then let's see, I have some really good news. Obviously saving this for last, almost last. So do you guys remember back in, I think it was like 2018, this teen mural conversation that we were having
Yes.
about getting a teen mural on the wall?
Yes. Because the Friends of the Library, I was on the board of the Friends, so yes.
That's right.
I remember this.
It's happening. So the open house, do you guys remember where we had teens vote for which anime
Yes.
thing they liked? Well, the one that everyone voted on, we brought that idea to our foundation and they already wrote the check. So basically, Carlos Nieto III, he did an anime workshop with us last year during summer reading it just went really well. And he's an amazing artist. We tried to get him back for a program this year, but he was actually fully booked for like the next several months. So anyway, he was the person who drew out those 3 options that we let everyone see during the open house. And then the one that everyone chose, he's actually in the process of just kind of tweaking it and adding a couple things that we asked him to add. And then it is going to cover the entire back teen room wall, which is a huge wall. And it's gonna be a custom wrap of this specific art piece, anime art piece. and it's going to be done by Canby Graphics and Design. It was not cheap, but we also got a deal, so very excited about that. But it is going to be huge. We're planning to have kind of an open house kind of event around that time period as well. And then we did want to make it kind of interactive, so we're thinking about like these little text bubbles where people can kind of input their own stuff. It's going to be really fun, and if anybody knows anything about the history of this project, it just
Took 6 years. We don't, so when's the expected installation?
we're hoping before the beginning of the school year.
Oh, wow.
We have a meeting to talk about it next week. We have to like move everything in the tea room around and all this other stuff, but the fact that it's actually happening is incredible. And then, okay, I am going to say one more thing. So right now, the Clackamas Fairgrounds and the city of Canby are doing a window painting contest. That's going on this entire week, and so the window painting has to be up by the end of this week, and then it's up for a couple months, and it's based on certain events going on in Canby, like the car show and the fair and rodeo and the Swan Island Dahlia Festival. And so we actually have a previous staff member who's in the process of painting all of our windows on the outside. We do not want to win, we do not want any of the prizes or anything like that, we just wanted to participate. But she's working on it usually in the evenings because it's been so hot. And if you go look at the windows in the front of the library, you can see the outlines of what she started. So that's gonna be super, super fun, and that'll be up for a little bit as well. So we just wanted to participate in that. There's 4 themes, and you can pick one, you can do all 4, and it's the Canby events that are going on,
Yeah, but
so
what are you guys doing?
all 4.
Oh, okay.
That was not my idea, it was our painter's idea, which I absolutely love. She's gonna spell out Canby and then draw like dahlias and other things, so it already looks really cool. She does. Okay, and I said that was the last thing, but there's one more thing. On Thursday, I am going to Malino, the Hamlet of Malino Unincorporated meeting. I will be there along with the Malala director and the Oregon City director, and we're basically just all there because we all have a piece of that unincorporated area. And basically, we're just going to get feedback from those folks and then to also share what kinds of resources that each of our libraries has.
Melissa, is that the one this Thursday?
At 7:15.
Because I'm in the Hamlet, I got an email.
Oh, great, if you're there,
So I'll go.
yeah, please do. This is the first thing that I've obviously done with the unincorporated areas, but I know because Link serves a very large unincorporated areas. We know that we've been wanting to get more feedback from those folks, so we're trying to figure out ways to do that. So this is one of those ways that we're hoping will get us some good information. So anyway, that's all I have to share.
So I have one comment, is that the adult art cafe is going on right now, and it looks like all the spots are full.
It's the busiest I've seen it so far, which it has been busy, and we've had a lot of people actually calling in and asking, when is it? What do you expect? And so Melissa's very overwhelmed in a good way. She's very appreciative that people are liking that idea, and so she's talking about possibly doing another one or maybe another time the same day. We're not sure, but yeah, programming in general has been going really well, and we're all just very happy.
Does anybody have any questions or more comments for Jan?
I have a comment. I took a moment as I was early and I looked at the community bulletin board and it's phenomenal. It's very tidy and it's exactly as they told us it would be, so it's good.
Thank you.
And I found it interesting. There were interesting things up there.
Yeah, that's what, nothing makes me happier than people saying, hey, will you post this? And I can be like, I will get it on our community board right now. Instead of, we don't have anything, I'm sorry. So it's going really, really well. We've had several staff members really kind of take charge of that, especially Lisa, one of our library assistants. So very, very grateful to have her on board since she did a lot of that work.
Great, thank you. David, do you have any questions for Marissa?
I do not.
Okay, just wanted to give you a chance.
Thank you.
That, so Marissa's done. So Friends of the Canterbury Library Report, the backyard patio garden show was the last Saturday of June. It wasn't as well attended as prior years. We don't know if that was because there weren't signs out or, which they've always been in the past, you know, those signs beside the road, like the vote, you know, vote for so-and-so, that type of thing. So they only made about $800. Is that what you heard, Tiffany?
I actually didn't hear that.
Yeah, I got that from Patty, so,
You said 800?
yeah. In the past, it's made closer to 2, so that's, I think that one of the issues is that they keep changing the date. And I think that's hard on people. You know, it was mid-August and then July and now June, and it's hard for people to kind of, you know, whereas like the tour of homes is always first Saturday in December, so it's easier to kind of plan around that. So that was my suggestion, was that they, you know, pick a date and stick to it. The next big event is, the Friends always goes to Swan Island Deli, to the Deli Festival, the first Sunday in September, so it is Sunday, September 1st. You know, they have that Sunday market, and so it's there. And that's their newer, better quality books, and they've always done very, very well there too. So they will be at the Dog Festival on September 1st. So that's all I have on the Friends, unless you know some other things, Marissa.
No, that was the main thing that they were talking about when I was at the meeting, so.
Okay, and I see that Marissa remembered something that I forgot to do, and this was my job, so my bad, is did you all have a calendar in front of you? We need to talk about calendar, since technically we probably should have talked about it in June, but we didn't, so it's July. So since the meeting this year is a long time before Thanksgiving, I think we could continue with the November meeting and then decide then if we want to have December meeting or not, but keep all the other dates the same. If some people take a look at that and see what you think. I know December tends to be such a crazy busy month anyways, so. It's fine. Looks good to you, Jennifer? Tiffany, looks good? Christy, looks good? Amy, looks good for you? Yeah. Great.
Just maybe December could be an issue, that's all.
Yeah, I think that,
Okay.
yeah, I'm thinking that if we do it, if we cancel anything,
Yeah,
we cancel December.
it's anniversary week for me. so,
Oh.
yeah.
Um,
I wanna go another year.
The only.
We're gonna be really nice and I'll tell you why.
The only other thing I could possibly think of is that in February, it's the day after President's Day, but,
Yeah.
you know, kids are back in school that week, so it's just the, you know, the day after holiday, but I'm retired, it's all holiday for me. What can I say? Life is tough. So can we agree to adopt the calendar that Marissa provided with the fact that we will have a discussion about December? Jennifer?
I just wanna ask a question. Could we establish a standing meeting between the three, is it the Friends, the Foundation, and the Library Advisory Board, and put it on the calendar and just have it a standing meeting, or is it too hard to coordinate all
I
that?
think that that's something that we should discuss when we have our meeting with them, that we would like to have like a standing meeting once or twice a year, and we get it on the calendar. So it's on everybody's calendars.
Yeah.
I mean, I take these home and I sit down with my calendar and I put all these meetings on it. So, Marissa, can you take a note of that? So I think that's a great point.
Other than that, I love it.
Okay, so we don't need to vote on this, do we?
No.
So we're just gonna adopt this, and we will discuss December, because I'm thinking that we'll try to get everything done, so we don't need to meet in December, which would be lovely. Okay, we got our calendar issues resolved, so there's three things left to discuss: the strategic plan, the donation process policy, and the team liaison application procedure, which I think we should push off to next month when we know more. That everybody in agreement with that?
No, which the team.
The team,
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Yes.
So hopefully Jennifer will have heard from her contact at the high school by then, and we can. And Jennifer, let me know if I need to talk with Rachel Sprague about this some more too. Rachel works for your friend.
Yeah, so I will make a point to make contact with Sue
Yeah.
before school starts again, before the fair where they sign up for their clubs, and I would be willing to go figure out how to have representation so that we could have a visible presence. and
Some of
get
us are retired, we could actually attend.
That's what I was gonna say, we could check the volunteers from the board here.
And plus, when Linda and I joined the Friends Board, we actually had to go through the background check. So we could background check, the same background check that they use for the library. So
That's a good point.
we've already done
That
that.
might have to be.
Amy's a teacher, she's already gone through the background check process, so, but she'll be able to that day. Anyway, I
So
think that,
aside from that, though, I would say that I'm committed to having representation, but that doesn't tell us how we're gonna choose the candidate.
Right.
So I wanna get the exposure out there, get the applications in, and then we have to resurface this.
and then, because I would like to, for us to get that settled, like this is the process we're gonna follow, so I can reach back up to the 5 kids who applied. So that's why I would, like to get something, so I can say, okay, this is what we're gonna do, people, we're gonna actually go through this process with being at the high school and the kind of formalized process, and FACE will have to, take a look at how it did, and we'll have to tweak it. I mean, you always take a look at what worked and what didn't work and make changes accordingly, but, okay. So we will push that off to the next meeting. So Jennifer, Marissa, do you wanna go first, or do you want me to go first?
For the strategic plan,
Yeah,
I will do it.
okay.
Okay, so I did put another document in your packet. And let me just start off by saying, when I gave you the last document, that was very, very brainstormy. It just didn't have a lot together, and that's because it's been taking a long time to work on this, but I met with a couple different link directors and talked about their own strategic plans, a couple of them which had just been created, and so they gave me some tips. Which was very helpful, and then based on their tips, our brainstorming documents, and then also 2 other documents, the Link Strategic and Tactical Plan that I've given you guys at some point, and then the City Council Goals document. Myself and our manager, Amber, basically tried to get this into a simple enough form that would be easy to understand and that would have exactly what we needed, but not too much information. That was one of the things that we wanted to change with the last strategic plan. It was that it had a lot of words, it had a lot of numbers, and it really did not take into account staff capacity or anything like that. And so one of the things that we wanted to make sure we did was that not only we connect our strategic plan to other goals, link-wide and city council-wide, but we also wanted to make sure it's things that staff can do. So we basically organized it into 3 priorities. Number 1 is advancing community education and outreach. You'll see the 2 city goals that this city council goals that this aligns with, and then also the Link Strategic Plan goals. And then you'll see that column that says tactics/objective, or the how. This was me and Amber's ideas, that's what we came up with, and then the very last column is what staff were saying they would be able to get done in the next few years with the strategic plan. So I didn't want to read everything word for word, but I did want you guys to know that we wanted to make things clear, but we also wanted to zoom out enough that we weren't pigeonholing ourselves into we have to do this specific thing. Because obviously with the last strategic plan, COVID happened and there was just a bunch that we could not end up doing because of everything that was changing. And so really when it comes down to it is that we wanted to focus on, like I said, those 3 priorities: advancing community education, outreach, building community through quality programming and services, and then improving the organizational health and stability, which I stole this one from the Milwaukee one. Because I absolutely loved it. It's something that I think is really important to get all of our goals aligned and make sure everyone is happy and healthy so we can have a stable library and stable funding. So with that being said, That last column, this is really just a place that I wanted you guys to give us some feedback and then to also tell us if there's anything else that you would add that I can take back to staff. And now that I am looking at this, it's really the last two columns that I would like feedback on. If there's anything that you think doesn't make sense, or anything that you would like to add or take out, that is what we were.
I have a couple of things. One of them is ticky-tacky, and I apologize, but I spent my life teaching English. On number one, in the tactics objectives, you really either ought to decide whether to use a progressive tense or not to. So, well, it should say either reestablish relationship, engage, and so on and so on, or it should say reestablishing relationships. It should be one or the other.
The verb thing.
Yeah, but I think.
Oh, yeah, brainstorming.
Yeah.
Understood.
No, I do understand. And I have the same comment under number two and in the same column. That's the hardest thing, I think. It just, accessibility isn't, I guess become accessible is a goal.
Yeah, as far as accessibility
Increase
goes.
accessibility.
Yeah, the
Yes.
reason that we don't wanna say do this, and that as far as accessibility goes is because there are a lot of things that we might not be able to do, and what we wanna do is we wanna look at that term, compare it with everything we have going on in the library, and then figure out what we can do better.
Yeah, no, all I'm saying is that it's not clear.
Yes, of course.
What you want to do with accessibility or what you want to do with curiosity.
Yeah.
Cancel it.
And you're saying keep it very broad.
Make it illegal, yeah.
We can get specific if that's what's necessary.
You just need a verb in there.
Right.
That's all you need.
We can certainly get more detailed and specific, but broader is a little bit better when it comes to getting to the end of the strategic plan and being able to actually explain what we did.
Yeah.
The last thing we wanna do is say, accessibility, we wanna do this specific thing, and then we're like, well, we didn't do that, but we did all these things.
No, that's the kind of, that's the kind of
just
thing
say
that you
yes.
do in a staff meeting, you sit down and talk about, okay, we really want to increase curiosity
Yes.
about something. How are we gonna do that? You know, otherwise, you don't want that, and that doesn't belong in this document.
Yes.
Tiffany, I heard you. Investigate ways we can become more accessible, something like that.
You could just any investigate accessibility.
Right.
Yeah.
Increase.
This is not a final document, again, that's what I'm bringing this to you guys.
No, I thought it was really good. I was
She
just
needs a
really
verb.
impressed.
She needs verbs.
Awesome. Understood.
I know.
So Jennifer?
Okay, I have a compliment, a suggestion, and a question. So I love number one, absolutely love it. Talking about the collaboration with the schools. I would like to point out private schools. It seems like there's a lot of private charter schools that have popped up that I'm not even aware of. But I would wanna make sure they're on your radar. So that was my compliment and suggestion. And my question would be on number 3. I understand that it's important to show the viability of the library with funding, but I think there needs to be more clarity around number 3, just a little bit. I don't know how to give you more specifics.
More clarity around like that first column, the priority, or just in general?
Looking at 2 and 3 and how you're gonna show the informational content about the cost of library services, I just feel like that's a very important piece, and I'm glad you added it, but I can't quite conceptualize how that's gonna look, or what your intent is with it. It's for the next time anything goes to vote, right?
Yes. Yeah, a lot of what we're doing is gathering information, trying to explain to anyone that has a stake in the library, uses the library, that we want to do everything for everyone, but we cannot do it all at the same time just because of budget and staff. But that's what's really important, is we wanna get feedback from everybody, we wanna do what we can, but we also wanna show the need that we do need more money. All the libraries need more money, we're gonna be able to do everything that everyone wants.
I want to give people a taste for, we could do more with more money,
Yes.
get people interested, yeah, I really like those things, I'm gonna vote for the new library.
Right, exactly.
Bond.
Yes.
Okay, Scott, do you have any comments for Russell?
No, it looks good, just I agree with those updates, yeah.
Okay, Tiffany? You look good? So, Linda got to talk about English because, she's a retired English teacher. I'm a retired HR person, and while I love number one, I worry about, having to clone Philip. And, the fact that, I always used to say this about important people, if I get hit by a bus, what do we do? And that, and I realize staffing is a huge issue, because it costs money, but at the same time, I love the ideas of him driving, getting up to the schools and really driving a strong relationship with the schools, but I also worry about what would happen if something happened to Philip. So that's my HR background speaking up, and I do want to say that when I was the chair of the Friends of the Library, I actually did provide library brochures. I provided library brochures and Friends of the Library brochures to Candy Chamber, because Kyle was awesome about getting them out there. So yeah, now we have to basically rebuild a program that COVID killed.
Yeah, there's so many things that I know in the past we've done, but we have a completely new board, staff, group, everything, and we just wanna bring as much back as possible, and obviously.
So it was to be exciting to see that.
Yeah,
To see a lot of the things on there, and yeah, especially I think that the building capacity for members of the library, our advisory board, the foundation, and the Friends, because there's, when we get together, it's a bigger, stronger circle. And somebody might have a friend who's not interested in being on the foundation, but they might be interested in being a friend of the library or on the library advisory board. So I think if we create this bigger, stronger circle, it could be a lot more impactful. My 2 cents, Rick?
Yeah, the only thing I had, I don't know if this is too specific, I used to be on a number of PTAs in Canby over the years. I wondered if there was any way to integrate that kind of contact through, in addition to the school librarians, can we bring that in, because, there's a lot of mom line, used to be mom lines, now it's mom texting lines, but years ago, they'd get a lot of information just from a board meeting. I was on the boards most of these, it was like a legislative board, but anyway, beside the point. I thought maybe that would be, I don't know if you want to say PTAs, but at least, support of individual schools somehow. I don't know how you could word that, but.
That is what,
Potential.
today is to get your ideas, and then I'll figure out how to word it.
Tax program change to PT, parent teacher and student associations. I think they're combining, the input, the advisory function of it all, so. But it doesn't matter what the name is, it's just that I wanted to get that way to get that resource in there.
It's also, excuse me for interrupting, but it's also possible that some of this creating and running around could be done by people who didn't have to work in the library.
Right.
So you have people here who are ungainfully retired, certainly can do some of that. And the Friends always have people who will do things like that.
That's the only comment I had for that for now.
Thanks, Rick. Amy?
I absolutely love this. I have a hard time when I read this. My ideas also always go automatically to, oh, this is what we can do here, and I just feel like that's not really my place. So.
Well, if you have like specific
do, but
ideas, yeah,
In a different form, not here, but
just give me the ideas, and if it makes sense to put them in there, we'll do it. If I can figure out a way to zoom out and kind of put it under an umbrella, we'll do that.
Okay, you are free to email your ideas to me.
I will. Yeah, I'll write it down now. I got a good one.
Chrissy?
I mean, my initial thoughts on this is that it's great. I think it's really easy for me to understand and follow. I'm sort of a processor, so I will noodle on this a little bit more and if I think of things, but otherwise I think it's really great and I think that they're tangible. I can see how they're gonna happen and how you'll be able to check them off the list.
I like what you said, they're tangible. I felt that way too, that they were tangible.
So that's my plan. The next thing is I'm gonna be taking this back to library staff and then we're gonna create the actual document. That will be the first real draft, that will go to you, and then if there's anything else to change, do that. As you know, it's a process.
Well, and there's always room to add or modify the tactics as things come up, because something might happen and like it's an opportunity to do X, Y, Z that wasn't available at the time this document was written. So this is not written in stone by the finger of God up in the mountain. This is a living, breathing document and needs to respond to real life.
Yes, and that's kind of the importance of zooming out a little bit, is so you're not saying I'm just doing this specific thing, but if you zoom out, there's like 5 other things that fall under it.
Right.
So yeah, that's what's important, and by the time we do, so just so you guys all know, once this document is officially done and approved by you, we'll be presenting it at the city council meeting, and then at the end of the strategic plan, we will be presenting what we finished, things that we might need to work on, and then we'll get started on that.
So only Linda was here at the previous presentations of back when Roger and Irene did it. But it is expected that as many of us show up as possible and that like the friends show up for it too. Because when they did the plan to expand so many years ago that, yeah, I mean, quite a few of the friends showed up, quite a few of the library advisory board showed up. So it's really a time to show up and show that we are there to support the library too. So, yes, I mean, Marissa has to get that on the schedule well in advance, so we will know when to show up. Any other questions or comments about this? Okay, so let's go on to the donation policy, the 17th iteration. I made it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 lines, and it's in the size 14 font, so it's not a lot of words, which is what we agreed that we would do. This is just very short, very brief. I'll read it for you, David. The Kansas Public Library is a community library, and all donations from the community help with funding library programs and services. There are 2 organizations that provide supplemental funding for the library by accepting donations or proceeds from special sales or events. The Friends of the Canby Public Library, hyperlink, and the Canby Public Library Foundation, another hyperlink, because they don't have a website yet. As both of these are 501c3 organizations, they are able to provide receipts for tax purposes. The library does not accept any non-monetary gifts. More information can be found in the How Do I section of the library website.
I could save you
Yeah, well,
5 words.
So it's down to 7.5 lines. This
Linda's on it.
typically, this
I already know what she's doing.
specifically excludes the seed library because the process for donations to the seed library is gonna have to be addressed separately because that's not formulated yet, but we wanted to get this done. When the seed library's stuff gets finalized, we will come up with a policy for that then.
Yeah, and right now we have people donating seeds. We just take them. If we can't use them, we figure out what we can do with them. Most of them we've been able to use.
Just to address in case someone, wants to pay cash or write a check or bring in a water full of money. Is that too specific to be addressed in this paragraph, or can you handle something like that internally? Because you told me that if it's to the library, we're not a 301(c), whatever, it has to go in the city general fund money, and there's no guarantee that money will be spent.
The way I like to think about it is we do get a small portion of the general fund that kind of offsets some of our operating costs that the tax district doesn't pay for. But you are correct, if somebody writes a check as a donation to the library, it goes to the general fund. So technically you can say we see it, but also not really. And so that's why we like to tell people if they do want to donate, write a check to the Friends, write a check to the foundation, that money will go directly to us.
So I know, because I'm the chair of the Friends, that money legally can only go to the library, you know? So it's, and I'm sure the foundation's set up the same way. So you donate money to the Friends, it legally has to go to the library. There can't be any other.
That's correct, which makes the first sentence incorrect. Just because it says all donations from the community help with funding library programs and services is not true.
That is not true.
Yeah, David, I'm not in charge.
There is nothing worse than somebody asking a question after you've worked really hard to get this as short and sweet as possible. But I would not know the difference between the Canby, Friends of the Canby Library or the Canby Public Library Foundation. So if I just hit this website, if I just looked at this at first, I would say, I wonder which of those I should donate and what's the difference. And I know you want it short and sweet, and the hyperlinks would probably answer that question.
Well, so the funny part is that I actually did have the words about that in there, and I was required to take them out by a unanimous other than me vote. Everybody voted, like it has to go up, so.
And I certainly agree, shorter is better, no question.
So, and that's why I'm going to refer people to the How Do I page. That will have a lot more information, and that will be a hyperlink to that as well. That's, we decided, and I did agree with this, that keep the policy short, and, because in the How Do I page, like, you know, the Kiwanis gives money to the library, the Rotary gives money, I mean, all these other organizations, and so if you have something, if you want to give Marissa a piece of artwork, well, take it to the Canby Kiwanis store, let them, you know, they're always giving the library money anyway, so there's ways to keep money in Canby and support the library and support your other community partners as well. So it's a place to talk about community partners, because they are important to the library. So it doesn't come across very well without the actual hyperlinks in it.
But yeah, that's what I was seeing for this, is make the policy short and sweet, it says what we mean, and then the how do I is like, so you want to donate, this is what to do. Can't really put that in.
Yes, Jennifer?
So what if we just took out the sentence before the last sentence where it says the library does not accept any non-monetary gifts and just didn't have that sentence in there?
Because then we'll start to get weird.
Because
My worry is that infers that the library accepts monetary gifts, which leads us to our problem.
I see what you're saying. The library accepts, well, we would accept gifts or donations for the foundation, or from, for the foundation, for the Friends, and also for the library, but anything that goes directly to the library goes to the general fund. Yeah.
I was trying to get
So
around the
what
problem.
happens if you start with the second sentence? Two organizations provide supplemental funding for the library by accepting donations and proceeds from special sales and events, etc.
And put the first sentence at the end.
And then the second is.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, those two.
So just reorder.
And then the library cannot or does not accept any non-monetary gifts. Well, that doesn't
I think
work.
our original point for that, the library does not accept any non-monetary gifts, is like library staff, if you bring something to us, we are not going to accept it. I think that's where that came
Yeah.
Because there's been a problem with that.
from. Yes.
Yes, so that's why I put it in there, is because there has been a problem in the past.
Which is
All you really have to say perhaps is that the library is not a 501c organization. It's government.
what if we just change that or that second to last sentence to library donations may only be accepted through those two organizations? Is that?
It's a way to focus.
It's more, a little bit more positive, I like that.
Because that says it'll go directly to the library,
Yeah.
not a portion of whatever the general fund.
That's much, much more positive. Okay, I'll work on this again. That is
It's so
my-
close. It's
It
so close.
is, it is.
Oh, it's so close.
That is my next door neighbor.
It's an A.
A forever. Okay, so we'll work on that again, and then I'll take some of the stuff we talked about, the community partners and stuff like that, and that will go into the how do I section after we get this.
Yeah.
Then I can work on that, because this is too hot to be outside, so we can stay inside in air conditioned comfort. Okay, we went through everything on the agenda. Any other announcements? Chrissy? Amy? Rick? Linda? Tiffany? Scott? Deborah? Marissa? David, any last words? We actually got that early tonight, I think this is the first.
I have a question for Amy, but it doesn't need to be online.
Oh, okay, well, then I move that we adjourn the meeting. Will somebody,
Second.
everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Make sure you turn your computer off, guys.